Hey, it's me, Jennifer Kite Powell, the host of your favorite podcast, Tiny Little Victories. Do you like word games? Do you play Wordle? Well, today I'm talking with Jan Ligaard, who is an entrepreneur and a game developer who has co-founded a new word game called Immer Puzzles. Pretty excited about this. I'm pretty sure he created it because he was sick of playing Wordle, but Immer Puzzles is available in a lot of languages, and because he's Danish, he created it first in Denmark and actually had to create a new dictionary in order to make the game work because of how Danish use and speak their language. I think that's pretty cool. And the second thing is right now there's about 70,000 people each day playing Immer Puzzles in Denmark. But the good news is, as you can also play it right here in America in English, you can also play it in German in Germany, and you can also play it in Danish. And I do believe you can play it in just about any language. So take a listen to this podcast with Jan Ligaard and his new game, Immer Puzzles. Jan Ligaard, you are here finally from Copenhagen. How's it going today, Mr. Puzzle Guy?
Well, the weather is not that good, but besides that, it's very good.
Oh,
Yeah.
what's happening in Copenhagen?
In general or
Yeah.
weather-wise?
Let's go with weather.
Yeah, weather I think is the easiest thing. It has been sunny, but now we're looking at like 14 days of rain. So
Oh my God, I hear you, because it's like we've had close to where I am in Dallas, as you know, we have had so much rain that the ground is so soaked that you can't. It's like a mosh pit outside. So
wow.
I feel for you, because with here it gets to be really high, like close to 40 degrees Celsius where you are, and it's been so muggy that now it's like walking around a steam bath constantly outside.
Oh,
So, but a little rain is good, and Copenhagen's so
yeah,
beautiful. Normally, you're right, it's beautiful,
it'll
but
be
you can,
it'll be fine. It'll
yeah.
be fine. Just have to
Now,
complain a little bit.
no,
So
it's good to complain. Everyone loves to
uh,
complain about the weather. So now that we're talking
yeah.
about the weather, and now we want to talk about games, because you have created a word game. What the heck? Like, coming from the designer that you were, the strategist that you were, and now you're making games. How did you? Why? How? Who?
Yeah,
What?
that is actually a very good question. And as many other things, I guess it was a side project, or it started as a side project. We just thought it would be fun. It actually was, of course, like many other maybe. We started looking at the Wordle game when that came out in a couple of years ago, where Just Wardle did the Wordle, and we played that one and actually loved it. But there wasn't a
Wordle.
Danish version. Yeah,
So you are addicted to Wordle. You're a Wordle addict then.
well, I was
Yeah.
until we made our own version in Danish.
I like that.
So
Jan is like, everybody. Jan is like, you know what? It's not good enough for me. I need my own
yeah.
game in Danish.
Well, that's partly true because I
Okay.
think the first part you didn't say was I'm not native English, so there are a lot of words I don't know, so I just have to deduct and guess. And at some point, we're just like,
Okay.
"This is hard because I don't know that word in English, so what to do?" And
Yeah.
then my partner in crime, he actually played it with his mother, and she was like, not that good in English, and she said, "Can this be done in Danish?"
I love
And he
this.
said, "Sure, let's have a look." And he said he's a very brilliant coder, so he said, "I'm not going to look at the English version. I'm just going to do from scratch a Danish version."
Oh yeah. Don't go back and try to copy. Just like make
No,
one from
you
the
can't, and
beginning.
you shouldn't do that anymore. But
Yeah.
of course, you can be inspired. And he just took the
Mm.
train from one side of Denmark to the next, and he actually coded it in like 4 hours or so. The
I
first
love
version,
that. Got on a train, the whole of Denmark, 4 hours, coded a new game. Done.
exactly. And that was kind of the start of this side hustle. And then we just shared it and people started playing it, and it was fine. And then we just thought, well, we must be able to do other word games. It's kind of fun, but we want to do our own, not just versions of something else.
Yeah.
So we kind of looked at it and thought, well, this is interesting. I have a background, of course, in communication, but also in Danish. So I've studied language, and so
Yeah.
we dived into it and looked at it a little bit. And it turns out if you don't have a good dictionary, like a dictionary API, it's kind of
Like a.
hard to do these games because you need some kind of solution database.
What do you mean? What do you mean? Like a regular dictionary, or just to be able to come up with a different way letters
No,
can make a word?
of course, it's if you just do like Wordle, you just need a list of all 5 letter names, letter words in a language, and then you can just use that as a database. And you say sure or not sure. It's okay. You can just use
Oh,
it as a word.
okay, okay.
But if you're trying another kind of game where you try to make new words with syllables or words or letter pairs, so you need to know, is this a real word, or is it a
Yeah.
word in a dictionary, or is it called, I'm not sure, is it called inflections? Is that like old,
Oh,
older, oldest? Is that like when you have all the different versions?
yeah, I think
Yeah.
so. Yeah.
So if you don't have all these in there, if you only, let's say you only have like old and older, you didn't have oldest in the dictionary, and people
Oh,
try to
okay.
write oldest, it would say not a word or not valid. It would say, hey,
Yeah.
what's up with this word? Why is oldest not a word? And then of course you need to have a solid dictionary, so it'll have all the different versions of a word, so people will get a good feeling about playing them. And
There's so much that goes
yeah,
into these games. I'm sorry, like, I
yeah,
just want to stop for a minute. Like, this is
sure, sure.
fascinating to me. So, you, when you're creating a word game like you guys did in Danish, you, whatever the word for old is, you would still have the same old, older, oldest in Danish. But, like, is that, are you using AI to go and figure those word combinations out? Or is it literally like combing through the dictionary
Yeah, well,
and
yes and
putting
no.
together the pieces?
Yeah, it's quite interesting because we just finalized our second version, and there's like an official Danish dictionary. I'll get back to the English one later. There's an official Danish one, and it will have some of the different versions, like old and older, and it will not have oldest in there. But because in Denmark, in Danish, there are different ways of and rules how to create the different versions of a word, then they just say, well, if you know this one, you also know the next, but you cannot look it up.
But
So
that's
they have,
so interesting. You can't look
yeah.
it up.
So I can't use the basis of that API for the whole game because there will be a lot of words missing. Then there is another dictionary. It's more like an extension of that one where they have all these different versions, but they set a machine up to do the different ones, and it couldn't really do the rules correctly. So there will be something in there which is valid, but it's not good. So if you like say old,
Uh-huh.
older, most old,
Most old.
oh,
Yeah.
yeah, instead of oldest. Like,
Yeah.
okay, it might be in Danish. It might be true in Danish. You can say most oldest,
Yeah.
but it's not the one you would say. So what we had to do was take that whole thing down and combine it with the first one, and then find a third one that has the right different versions. And then, but they also had words that wasn't in the first one, so we had to make sure it didn't take those, and then we would use it as a cross check to say, if this word is there, use their version of how to do the different versions of a word. And that created the new version of the dictionary, which is I think it's the best dictionary in Denmark right now because we
Okay,
have
so
the whole
now
thing.
basically out of making a Danish word puzzle game, you've made a whole new dictionary for the people of Denmark.
Yeah,
So you're welcome,
exactly.
Denmark, right? So
Yeah,
you're welcome.
yeah.
I mean, what are you gonna do with that dictionary that you've made? That seems like a really big contribution to society,
It
Yen.
could be. We have it. Well, the ones doing the official one is like in a department in the
Yeah.
Ministry of
Yeah, of language or
Education.
something.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so we could of course approach them. They are trying to do something, but I'm pretty sure they haven't done this.
Well, they probably don't have the time. They probably don't have the time or
No, they
even
don't have the
care
time,
because
or
you went back and took that dictionary and then this other newer dictionary, but then because they didn't come together here and made basically a new dictionary, a modern dictionary, it would seem to me that this is a really that this would be something that you could get paid for. And number and like that's huge. I mean, are you like thrilled about that making a whole new dictionary?
well, yeah, in a lot of ways. Also because it opened up for other things. We got also different. Like if you have a word, you also have a description of the word.
Yeah,
So you can actually from that use AI, and it'll take out all the things that they have in common. So you could then tag things like saying red, it could be a clown nose, it could be a tomato, it can be different. So you can make new games because you have the tags of all these different words. So you can actually create new games
that's amazing.
cross all the different words. So that's what we're doing right now. And
You're
on top,
using AI now to go and like make these connections between like red could be a nose, red could be a tomato, red could be
yeah,
Nina's balloon, Luftballon.
fire
Yeah,
truck. So
fire truck.
if you look at something like New York Times, their connection games, you could do a game like that, and you can just say, okay, what have these got in common? It might not be obvious at first, but when you see, it's because they are all red,
Yes.
for example.
Yes.
So the new dictionary can give us that tool to actually create these kind of games.
And how has that evolved from the first game you made then? The Immer I mean, I've played your game in English.
Yeah,
Uh and so was it easier to do the English version than the Danish version because of these rules in the Danish language
yeah,
or
yeah.
okay.
Well, there's an interesting story there because
Oh, do tell.
we didn't really think about this when we did the Danish ones, but again, Anders is a brilliant coder, so he did think a little ahead, and he actually coded the games in a way so we can actually hook up any dictionary to them, and we can create them in other languages overnight.
That guy's a genius.
So if we take the Immer Puzzles, we can do
Yeah.
a copy of that site, of course, translate all the instruction in German, hook on a German dictionary, and then we got the platform in German instead.
Okay. And so that like our producer is Dutch, so you could do the same thing with Dutch
Yeah,
as well.
it's
Okay.
all about the dictionary.
Is the dictionary an electronic dictionary or is
Yeah,
it like
yeah,
oh yeah. And so is that like has an open API or something where you can just go
yeah,
grab Oh, really?
yeah. Some of them have, some of them you pay for. Some of them can you find different places. So we use another one for English that is often used for other games. So we know that the words in there would be some words people are used to or have seen before. So they will not be like, how is this possible? Because that was something we got from the Danish before we did the new dictionary. They were like, why can't I write this? Or how
Oh.
come this is approved? Or where do you have this one, this word from? So when we try to do these games, we of course also look at the solution words or the solutions and see, are these words, even though they are valid, are they
Yeah.
good? So on top of what we're not done yet, because on top of this dictionary, we have taken down like 50 gigabyte of data of people talking that are free and open to use. And then we analyzed it. So we said, okay, for every millionth word, how many times does this word appear? And that
Stop
gave us
it.
like a logarithmic scale, so we could see that's often used, that's not often used. Will this be a good? Will this be a good game? There might be a couple never used, but that'll just be the hard part of it. But the other ones people can find. Then we know there's a good chance that they will actually succeed in finding at least 80% before they are done.
I don't think anybody that plays these games even thinks about what goes into making this
Oh,
game. Like I'm sort of blown away the fact that there's a data set out there of you can listen to people talk and then use I guess you used AI, right? To go back and see how many times the word tomato came up
well,
or
we basically just use well, AI is basically machine learning if we have to go
yeah.
into that
Yeah.
and onto that path. But we did our own machine learning on top of it. So if you find
Okay.
a forum like, I'm not sure which one Anders has been on, but you could take Reddit or Wikipedia or something. Something has an open
You're on
AI.
Reddit. I found you guys on Reddit recently. I'm going to
Oh,
read that after you finish. Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
well, there you
Do you want
go.
to know what they said? All right. They said and I quote, "A couple of new word games popped up in my search yesterday. Moves and Stack by immerpuzzles.com. Anyone know these? I tried Moves and it seems easy enough. You have to find the 6 words a day and a few moves as possible and you decide which word to start with. This is what makes it fun. Since the strategy is thinking ahead, since you might get it done quicker if you think a little ahead, it's like chess." That's a really
Well, there you
good Reddit.
go. That
That's a
yeah.
good Reddit review right
I
there.
think I'll use that one actually
Yeah,
as a
I
description on how to play the game.
I really his name is Rich_Strain on Reddit/word games. We'll put it in the notes so everyone can see it. But I think that's a really great review.
I'm not even at Reddit on Reddit, so
Well, I'm not either, but I decided to do a little search before we had this
oh
chit
sure,
chat because I was so fascinated by what you were doing when we started talking a few months ago. And you just launched in June. So you launched in
yeah.
June in Danish, and then you have English enough to where these people on Reddit are already writing about it. Like what that's June is like now.
Well, I would like to just say one thing before that, because we don't actually collect any data. We do, but not we don't. We collect game data. That's it,
Ye-
and that's
what do you
something
mean?
about that's
Oh,
well,
you mean how
basically
people play the game?
how people play the game. So this player, it can be a session, or it can be someone logged in. They played this game in so many moves, or they found this many words. But that's all we ever collect of data. I know data is a big thing,
Okay.
and somebody,
Yeah.
yeah, we know who
Yeah.
you are, and you can use it and sell it and all that.
Yeah.
We're not at all interested in that.
I
We
like to
we
hear
like
that.
people playing our games instead of using it for something else.
Don't you think that that's what people do when they come to games? They sort of use these games as like a getaway or a de-stressor
Yeah.
or to like keep your brain. There's a lot of data out there. A lot of data. Speaking of data, there's a lot
Hmm.
of data out there that really talks about keeping your mind really agile as we
Yeah.
age. And as someone that's, in the last decade of her life here, I feel like the more I play these games, the more agile my brain is. So I don't think people even think about that like collection of data in games, but your point of learning and knowing so that you could probably make more games is better,
Yeah.
more
Yeah.
useful.
That's actually also a part of how and or why we do these games, because we have like a not a manifest per se, but we have
Yeah,
some criteria that they kind of need to fulfill. So we would like to make games that will become a good habit,
I
but
like
never
that.
never an addiction. So there will
Not like
always
like
be
Candy Crush or
exact. That's my go-to example. Yeah.
not on my phone. It's not on my phone.
No, no, not on my either. But you
Yeah.
can lose yourself in that game.
Oh,
uh, and we don't want people to do that, because we want to give them yeah, a good
instead of buying
experience.
yogurt for their babies, they're like upping their Candy Crush account, and the next thing you know, you spent like $500 on these micro payments. I don't even think that's good gaming because, like you
No,
said, I think it's more like an addiction. It's more like gambling in a way.
yeah, and that's why you can only have one of our games a day. It changes every night at 12 o'clock, and you have
Okay.
to wait for the next one. But we had some pushback in terms of, because our games is well, I'm jumping a bit all over
That's okay. You can go anywhere you want to go.
how we see it is that there are like three different types of word games, brain teasers, what you want to call them.
Mhm.
They're like the deduction games where you have your Wordle, or you have your actually Sudoku also, because Sudoku has nothing
Mhm.
to do with math. It's something about, can you see the patterns and figure out, if I
Yeah.
put it here, I can't be there, so I deduct myself into a solution at
Patterns.
some
Yeah.
point. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you got the more like word games, which are more like the three of the games we've done, which are more like crosswordish, because
Yeah.
you need to know a little bit about words and how they're spelled and syllables and how they can be put together and all that.
Yeah.
And then you got the more like hardcore math games in the end, where you need to know a little bit about multiplication and division and all that, and how you can see the different patterns when you do stuff. We have done one of those, but it's not on the site, and there's a reason for that.
Yeah.
Because the reason why we don't track any data is because we are not, for now at least, wanting to make any money on the website. We don't
Okay.
want
Do
people.
tell
We don't.
capitalism
Yeah, yeah,
4.0. Yeah.
yeah,
I
exactly.
love that.
Well, at some point we might do it, but I can promise you this: the games that are free today will stay free. Period. You don't have to have a user to play the games, but it'll keep your scores and all that if you do. But it's still
Yeah.
free. At some point we might do something about, I don't know, $1 a month, and you can play extra games.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, a lot of people like this dollar a month thing. Patreon does it a lot with a big it's a they you can have your podcast on there and then you can just pay $1 a month and support the podcast because you're
Exactly.
getting something in return.
Yeah.
And I guess my question to you is you're created these games obviously passionately created these games because you
Hmm.
like doing Wordle and I've known you for a long time and you're always a thinker. You're always thinking about the next thing. I mean, it's not out of character for you to create a game and just say, "Hey, we're going to provide these games." But it sounds like you guys have done an amazing amount of legwork just to get to this point. And my question is, I, has it all just been for joy, basically, to create the games and see if you could do it, or in your mind,
I,
you know
I
that
know. I know where you're going. No,
okay,
no. Yes and no, because our business plan is a bit different, um, in terms of how to make, or how we are making money, because we are making money on these games right now.
okay,
Uh, not on the games you see on Immer Puzzles. But what we
Other
did
games.
was we created a backend for this because we like the idea of our games being curated. There has to be an editor behind them. So every game you see, I have been doing myself by hand, but not, of course, I have to think them up because we have tools back
Oh
in to
my,
make them quickly. But
yeah.
I do them every Monday. I do a weeks of games for both sites, and then
What?
we've done
Really?
some tools that yeah. So we've done some tools that we can quickly do them, but we can then curate them. So if it's Easter, we can have something about Easter, and so we can make some kind of theme if you want to. But what we did was basically create more games. And if you're not the New York Times and have like 30 people on the game staff creating games, maintaining games, and so on, but you would
Yeah.
like as a publication to have games that are not just
Ah,
force fed auto into your site, you can actually use our. So we have
smart.
publications in Denmark that subscribe to our games, and they have some of the other games we did. So we have made the whole game sections, and it looks and feels like they are New York Times. They have like 5 of our games, and that's how we will let the publications pay for the other
The
users'
free.
free use, basically.
Yeah. If I had applause sound, I would definitely be clapping it right now. So yes, good.
But that's how we do it. And then we give some kind of exclusivity, not to the games, but to the package of games. So no two clients can have the same package. So this one
How do
publication
you
have
do
like,
that?
well, one publication have 5 games. They are having the sixth in a short while. And
Hmm.
then there's another one who has four of the games. 2 of them are overlapping. That's it. So they have exclusivity on the
Okay.
package, meaning
That's
that you
smart.
can never find the exact same 5 games at another publication. You
So
might find
smart.
3 of them or 2 of them, but the other ones will have those 2 and 2 others that the first
Their
one doesn't
own.
have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's really
So
smart.
that's a way to give them, because there are, of course, companies out there doing some of the same thing we are doing, and they are also the biggest one in the world doing crosswords and Sudoku, and they are very popular. But they are like just putting a tube into your site and just auto playing
Like
games every
fire
day.
hosing it. Yeah. Just.
Full, they are no control. They don't know what they're getting. They'll just get from some
Mm.
central place in Holland, actually, and they don't have any control of it. And the only thing they can
Those
do, they all
Dutch.
have
Yeah.
yeah, exactly, and they all have the same 4 games, and they're just different in color.
And
That's
that's
it.
not special. I mean,
No,
like you you bring up a really good point here about curation. And I know people talk about it a lot, but I like the idea of you're curating these games and that separates it out because people when they play these games, they do play in one place and then another place and another place. So there's no specialty there. And what is the point today of like spraying everything with the same thing?
yeah,
This idea of being very specific and intentional about what you create has always been your sort of driving force. I think you've always
try
been
to,
focused
yeah,
on creating originality, taking care to curate something that means something to people. And you've done that through your design and the other companies that you've built. And I see that carrying through to Immer Puzzles. So, where did the name come from? I've been dying to ask you, Immer
oh,
Puzzles.
yeah. Uh, sadly I don't have like the best
Oh,
story.
cool story.
Yeah,
Okay.
no.
Gonna make one up
Well,
right now?
yeah, okay. Nah, we actually bought in Danish. Our games is under the domain immer.co. That's it.
Okay.
And then we got the English one called Immer Puzzles, and then we actually also bought the German one Immerspiele.de.
That
So
sounds cool.
yeah,
Immerspiele.
and
Yeah.
we actually like the idea about having different designs, same games, different designs, different looks and feels, and different URLs. So
I
it's not
like
like
that.
like a one big candy store. You can just change language and then you get the same games again. And we would never have a lot of games because it should be curated. So it's like these are the
Yeah.
8 games and that's it. Not just
Yeah.
like endless scroll of
Yeah.
tons of games.
I think people are sick of that. I think people are sick of that. I'm sick of that. Like to me, there's too much out there. One of the things I did really like about Immer Puzzles is that first of all, it's easy to sign up, and we're going to put all this in the notes. Was that it was very straightforward. It wasn't cluttered with a lot of other things. I wasn't overwhelmed. I couldn't make all of my 5 words. I got so close. I was like, what are these other 2 words? And I felt very accomplished in a way because it wasn't sometimes with all these other games, there's something going on over here, there's something going on over here.
No ads.
And Yeah, that's so refreshing. You don't even realize how you're bombarded with all that stuff all the time. The
Well,
simplicity of it is beautiful.
I think you actually figure that out when you are on that page, because you figure out,
Yeah.
okay, what's not happening. Oh, not all the ads and all that.
Yes. What's not
So
happening?
so that's why we also no ads. You don't have to have an account, but if you do, you can get some more statistics. You can just play
Mhm.
straight off the bat. We like that stuff. So, but we actually, I think I didn't touch that before, I think, but some people have been like, because ours are not deduction, the ones we were doing some new ones that are, but this one is not. So you can actually find 8 out of 10 words, and you'll get frustrated. But what are, as you said before,
Yeah,
what are
yeah,
the last two?
yeah.
So on after different requests, we have actually introduced the "I'm done" button. So you can actually, if you're logged in, you can actually
Oh,
say, "I'm done," and then you can get the whole solution shown to you, and you are logged
okay.
in, and you can't do anything else that day for on that game. You need to wait until 12 o'clock.
I like that. The clock turnover. Like, this is the one game. I actually didn't understand that at first. I'm like, oh, I'm only getting one game a day, which is very, very cool because, again, with this flooding and sending of people, this addiction based environment that we live in, it was really nice to be able to, okay, I get excited and come back, but I couldn't stop. I think this is new since I played. So I like that I'm done.
Yeah, it
And
is
it
new.
stops. Yeah.
Yeah, and then it's just like end the game, and you'll have to wait until 12 o'clock to play the new game, and you can just see the solution, what you missed. Yeah, it's New York time. What's that?
The only time,
Uh,
right? New York. Is that for Denmark as well, or is it the English game? Or
that's the English game. In Denmark, it's
okay,
12 o'clock then in Danish time, but for the English one, we just decided for New York time.
okay, why not? That makes sense. Who cares about those people in California? They're probably not playing games anyway.
Yeah.
Uh, um, yeah.
Oh,
So how
I hope
many
so.
people? I was going to ask you how many people about like who's playing these games the most? People in Denmark, people in the Netherlands,
Yeah.
English. Like who's getting? Obviously Denmark, probably.
Yeah, well, there are a lot of people playing the Immer.co games because they are in Danish. There are also
Yeah,
Danish
yeah.
people playing the English ones, but we have like a steady set of people every day playing. I think it's up to, I haven't got the numbers for the English yet, but Danish one, I think it was up to, combined all the games, over 70,000 people a day.
That's a lot of people.
Yeah.
I mean,
Denmark is
that's
a very
all of
small
Denmark.
country.
Yeah, right, exactly. What percentage of
Ah,
Denmark is that? No, I'm just kidding.
uh,
Uh, what how did that happen? Was that an organic like acquisition of those players, or is it because it was in the newspapers?
this is actually the first time we like talk about our games. We like the organic, living small, so we never did anything. We just released a game, and it organically just grew. People just started to share it, and so actually we haven't really. I'm surprised that someone on Reddit has found it, because we only just posted it a couple of places, a couple of Facebook groups that just posted an image and said try it out, and that was actually it. So I'm not quite sure how it got there, but
Well, how it got there is exactly how it got to 70,000 daily players. Everybody listen to that. Daily players in Denmark is because it's a good game and because it's organically shared. And I always feel like if you end up on Reddit and you're in the games thing on Reddit, you've done something right. So
yeah,
thank you for that. And thank you for sharing these games for free with the world. And what we're going to do,
sure,
everybody, is we're going to put in the notes how the access to Immer Puzzles in for US. And then also, heck, if you want to learn Danish or you think you can speak Danish, can we? Why not? Can you play the game in Danish if you
yeah.
want to?
It's
Okay.
free. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, it's free. You can play
Same.
anything. Well, Jan, thank you so much for coming on Tiny Little Victories and sharing this.
Yeah, so nice.
Everybody go play Immer Puzzles. Thanks for listening to this episode of Tiny Little Victories with Jan Ligaard, the co-founder of Immer Puzzles. We've put all the details on how you can play Immer Puzzles in the show notes. And don't forget to rate, follow, and comment and share Tiny Little Victories with all your friends, your relatives, and maybe even your frenemies. Thanks, and see you next time on Tiny Little Victories.